Hello guys, welcome back to this tutorial. In this tutorial, we are going to discuss another interview question. So this question is, how do we process more than 50,000 records in the trigger? So the solution is, first thing is you cannot retrieve more than 50,000 records through your SOQL calls in a single context because it is going to hit your governor limits. So solution is using batch Apex to process more than 50,000 records. So in the batch Apex, you are going to divide the 50,000 records in multiple batches, and then you are going to process each of those batches one by one. So that is how you're going to process more than 50,000 records. Now the next thing is there are two different types of batch Apex. So one we have is stateless and the other one we have is stateful. Stateful and stateless. By default, the batch Apex is stateless. So each execution of Apex job is considered as a discrete transaction. So what do I mean by that is, so let's say you have 1000 records to process. Now what we can do is, if you are using batch Apex, we are going to process these in 5 batches. The first batch will have 200 records, another next 200, next 200, fourth batch will have 100, 200, and the fifth one will have next 200. So total of 1000 records will be processed by these 5 batches. Each of the batch will have its own transaction, and you will not be able to retain the values of the variables in between that transaction. If you want to retain the instance member values in between the transaction, what you can do is you can implement an interface called as database.stateful. So in order to make the batch Apex stateful, you can implement this interface. In that way, what will happen is you will be able to maintain the state in between those transactions. Otherwise, each of this batch will be executed in its own transaction and it will be stateless. Means you will not be able to retain any values in between those transactions. If you want to do that, then in that case, you have to implement this stateful interface. And the reason we do is, if you want to count or if you want to summarize the records as they are getting processed, if you want to store the values of variables in between the transaction, you can do that by making or by implementing the stateful interface. So this is all about that, how we can process the 50,000 records or more records. So let's meet in next tutorial. Till then, have a good day. Bye.